Hey guys, it's about 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, and I am up at school trying to make these sub plans. So I thought I would try making a video using a different program, so I hope it turns out okay. We're starting our unit on different types of transformations, and we're going to start today with translations. So I gave you a packet. We're going to use part of it today, and then we're going to use this part of it on Friday. So make sure that you hang on to it tonight. I'm going to wing this. I have not even really looked much at this packet, so if I make a lot of mistakes, I'm sorry, but it's late and I'm tired. Okay, so we're going to start talking about translations, and translations are basically just slides. So it says to graph the image of the figure using the transformation given. This is really pretty basic. So the translation is just 1 unit left. That means you're going to take each point and move it 1 unit left on the x-axis. So if this point is x, I'm going to slide it over here 1 unit to the left, and now I'm going to make the dot, but I'm also going to call it x, and then we make a little dot, or not a dot, a little line up to the side, and we call that prime. So that's x prime. I know this pencil's hard to see. I'll try to find something else. Hang on just a second. Well, this is horrible. Okay. Okay, so let's try this again. When I make my new point, it's the same letter, but we put the prime symbol up. So I would read that as x prime. So I slide x 1 unit to the left. I slide g 1 unit to the left. I call that g prime. Q, I slide 1 to the left. That's q prime. And I slide u 1 unit to the left, and that's u prime. And then I would connect my dots, make my shape, and I'm done. Okay, you probably learned how to do this in 5th or 6th grade. What we're going to do that's a little bit different is this part down here, and we call it arrow notation. And what we're basically doing is summarizing what we just did. So we're going to write x, y, because that's what we started with. Draw an arrow to the right. And then the only thing that changed in this translation was x. We moved 1 unit to the left, so that means that we took 1 away from x each time. So I'm going to write x minus 1, and then y stayed the same. We didn't go up or down. This shows where I started and then what I did to each of those variables, or each of those coordinates, to get the new image. Okay, let's look at this one. So 1 unit right, 2 units down. Okay, I'm going to start with t. I'm going to go 1 unit to the right and 2 down, and I'm going to label that t prime. I think that's an I. Okay, I'm going to go 1 unit to the right, 2 units down, label it I prime, and then same thing with E. Okay, and there's my new shape. It's just, all I did was slide it. I'm going to now write my arrow notation. So I'm going to write x, y, draw your arrow, and then what happened to x? If we started here and we moved 1 to the right, then x increased by 1. So I'm going to write x plus 1. And then what happened to y? Well, I went down 2 units, so I'm going to write y minus 2. All right, you go ahead and try 3 and 4 on your own, and then when you're ready, start the video back up, and we'll go over the answers. Okay, here is the answer for 3. I moved each point 3 spaces to the right. I renamed all of my points, and then I wrote my rule. I started with xy, I added 3 to x, and y stayed the same. Okay, go ahead and try number 4. All right, so for number 4, I made my new image. Yours should look like mine. I labeled all my points with the prime notation, and then I wrote down here the rule. X went up 1, well, to the right 1, so it increased by 1. And then y went down 2, so that's minus 2. All right, go ahead and try 5 and 6. Hopefully you notice that you're going to have to go ahead and plot the ordered pairs to get your original image, and then you'll have to move it from there. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Pause the video and then start it back up when you're ready. Okay, so for number 5, this was my first image right here. And then it said to translate it 5 units up. So I just took each point and slid it 5 up, labeled my new points with the prime symbol. My rule down here says X, Y, and then X stayed the same. I didn't move left or right, but for each Y point, I added 5. So that would be the new rule that I'd write. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try number 6. Okay, so my original image is this rectangle right here. I translated that 3 units up, so for each point I moved up 3, labeled my new image with the prime symbol, and then I wrote my rule, X, Y, and then X, Y plus 3. Since X didn't change, it just stays the same, and Y we increased by 3. Okay, so now we are going to look at what happens with transformations when we translate a figure but we don't have the grid in front of us. And that's why I was having you write the arrow notation or the rule earlier, because that will help you now. So if you take a look at this, it says we're going to translate our figure 2 units to the left and 1 unit down. So if I'm going to write a rule for this, let's come up here. I would start with X, Y, and then we need to think about what's happening. If I move a point 2 units to the left, on the x-axis, that means I'm going down 2 units. So I would write x minus 2, and then y says it's going down 1 unit as well, so I'm going to write y minus 1. So I just use this right here to show what was happening to x and y. If I move left, then my x is decreasing, and if I move down, y is also decreasing. So now I'm going to take a look at each of these points, and I'm going to rewrite the new ordered pair. So if I take this point at 0, negative 1, and I apply this rule, Q prime would now be at what coordinate? Well, x is 0, and 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Y is negative 1, and negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. Point D was at negative 2, positive 2, so its new location at D prime, I'm going to apply this rule. So negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4, and then positive 2 minus 1 is 1. Point V was at 2, 4, so V prime, I'm going to apply this rule. So if I plug 2 in here for x, 2 minus 2 is 0, and 4 minus 1 is 3. And then the last one, J prime, I'm going to take 3 and subtract 2. I get 1, and then I'm going to take 0 and I subtract 1 and I get negative 1. So I just found the ordered pairs for each of those new locations just by looking at the rule and what's happening to x and y. Let's do number 8. So this says I'm going to translate my new image 2 units down. So when you think about that, x is not changing at all. So I would write my rule out, x, y, draw my arrow, x stays the same, and y is minus 2. So now I'm going to write my new points. So D prime would be at negative 4 because it's going to stay the same. And then I'm going to take y, which is 1, and subtract 2. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And I just found out my new ordered pair, my new coordinate. Do the same thing for A. A prime. X is going to stay the same. And then I'm going to take 5 minus 2 to get 3. S prime. X is going to stay the same, and then 4 minus 2 is 2, and then N prime, X stays the same, 2 minus 2 is 0. So now I have my new ordered pairs. Go ahead and try number 9, so hit pause, try it out, and then come back and check your answer. make sure you start by writing your rule so that you know what you're doing to x and y. Okay, so here's what I wrote. Start with xy, and then 4 units left means that we're moving, we're getting smaller on our x-axis, so it would be x minus 4. 4 units up means we're adding 4 to y. So x minus 4, y plus 4. So then for each of our new points, so j prime, I said it was negative 5, 2. A prime was negative 5, 4. And n prime was negative 1, positive 1. Okay, go ahead and try 10. Pause it, and then come back when you're finished and go over your answer. Okay, here's what I have for 10. Start with xy, and then I said x plus 3, y plus 4. So then z prime was negative 1, positive 1. I prime was 1, 2. And v prime is 1, 0. And guys, it's late, and I'm going through this really fast. So if you catch a mistake, just let me know on Friday. All right, let's take a look at number 11. So now all we're doing for 11, 12, 13, and 14 is just writing the rule. So looking at what's happening to each of those points, okay? If we look at, this one's a little bit hard to see, but this is your image you start with, and then this is where it's been moved. I don't know if you can see that tiny prime symbol on each of those. This one looks like it's blending in with the y-axis. So we start here, and then we go here. So if you look at you, if I start here, the only thing that's happening is I'm moving up. So I'm moving up 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Okay, let's make sure that works for our other points. So I am moving up 1, 2, 3, 4, Q, 1, 2, 3, 4, and M, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I go to write the rule, I start with xy. X is not changing. I'm not going left or right at all. The only thing that's happening is I'm adding 4 to y. So I would write this. Okay, let's take a look at 12. This is the image we're starting with. And I know this is where it has been moved because of the prime symbol. So look at what's happening to D. D went to the right 1, 2, 3, and down 1, 2, 3. Let's check F and see if it works. It goes to the right 1, 2, 3, and then down 1, 2, 3. So if X is moving to the right 3, it's increasing. So if you start with your XY, X is increasing by 3, it's moving to the right. And then Y is decreasing by 3 because it's going down. So then I would write Y minus 3. Okay, will you go ahead and try 13? Pause the video and then come back and check your answer. All right, start with this image, and then you translate each point 4 to the left and up 2. So this would be the rule that you would write. X minus 4, Y plus 2. Go ahead and try 14. Pause the video and then start it back up when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, you start with this image and you slide over here. So each point is moving 6 units to the right. That means X is increasing by 6. Y is not changing. It's not going up or down at all. So you would just write X plus 6, Y. All right, guys. Hang on to this packet until tomorrow. We're going to start talking about reflections on Friday. There is one thing I would like for you to do. I assigned a Buzz Math set of problems that goes along with translations. So if you would go ahead and get started on that. I can't remember the exact name of it, but you'll figure it out. And then that way you don't have to do it over the weekend. So go ahead and start Buzz Math over translations, and then tomorrow we will start in on reflections. If you have any questions or if something's not working, just send me an email. I'll be home, so I should be able to get it without a problem. Okay, have a great day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.